So, hi there. Today we thought we'd tell you a little bit about our tips and thoughts about moving to Portugal and buying land in Portugal. We're in the beautiful town of Pernambuco at the moment, and there's one of their many festivals going on this evening, which we're going to catch up with a bit later on. But we thought before that, we would just tell you a little bit about our thoughts about moving to Portugal, buying land in Portugal. So, number one, weather. Weather can be very extreme in Portugal. It's not the perfect 24, 25 sunny every day temperatures. It can be very cold in winter, down to -1 or 2. You can have frosts for several weeks at a time. We had that on our land a couple of years ago. And you can have incredibly hot temperatures too, and anywhere in between. So at the moment, we've had a day of about 36, 37 degrees in the shade, and it's likely to get hotter as the summer progresses. And you might find that we won't have any more rain. That's it for rain. So that brings me on to the second one. Water. When you buy land, make sure as best you can that your land has a year-round supply of water, because that is incredibly important if you want to actually grow things, produce things, have your beautiful garden, horticulture, etc. So a good time to check land is, do the wells still have water in them at the end of the summer? So that is another good thing to think about. The third is, where do you want to be? Think carefully about this. Do you want a piece of land in the middle of nowhere, away from everybody? That could be your dream, and that could be wonderful for you. But of course, then you're going to be isolated. Remember, if you don't speak Portuguese, you're already isolated because of language, because many of the rural places, people don't tend to speak English, or possibly the language that you have. So you need to really think about, do you want to be that isolated from the community, one, by the language, and second, by where you are. So you might want to consider being closer to a town or a village and having the closeness to a community that brings you. And the other thing about getting an isolated piece of land is the fire risk. Now, I can't underestimate the importance of this. Fires are a definite hazard in Portugal, and if you are going to buy a place that's a long way away from anywhere, that is maybe in the forest or somewhere like that, you need to make sure that you are have a good exit plan, and you've made the bombeiros, the fire service, aware that you are there, so they know to come and save you if there is a fire. Obviously, that whole fire risk problem is not such an issue if you're closer to a town or a village. Okay, the next thing I think you need to think about is the price of land. Now, prices of land can be very, very wildly different when you start looking at them. You think, why is this piece of land loads more expensive than that piece of land? Well, it might be because one piece of land is rocky, it doesn't have fertile soil, it's not particularly productive, but it might be sort of 2 or 3 hectares, whereas a small piece of land might be more expensive, but it's actually got plenty of water. It's got established productive fruit trees already. It's got really fertile soil ready to grow, and it's got plenty of water. So you need to think about these two things, because that affects the price. For every fruit tree or olive tree or productive vine that you have on the land, that pushes up the price of that land. And the second thing about prices, it's about how much you want to pay. If you see your dream property and it seems everyone's saying, oh, it's expensive because prices have gone up, but if it's your piece of land, your dream piece of land, and you want to buy it, then maybe buy it. If you can afford to buy it, then buy it. Don't think about what other people say, because around this area, prices have gone up because more people want to come to this area, have been looking in this area. So obviously prices rise, but it doesn't mean that you can't find your dream place for the price that you want to pay for it. That leads me on to another thing. If you're buying a piece of rural land, make sure that you understand about urban and rustic licenses and what you can do on that land. Can you build on it? Can you live on it legally? Can you build your dream home on it or not? Can you build a straw bale house? Can you build a container home? Some of these things are prohibited. Some of these things are very difficult to get agreed. And one of the things I would do is recommend seeing this video up here, which is from Quinta Fonte Pippa, I think they're called, but the link's here and in the description, who talk through all of the legal requirements about building on your land. Definitely worth a watch, really good video. And finally, just like to say one more thing that can be difficult here is the bureaucracy. It can be quite a laid-back country, and people can be laid back, and generally the people here are incredibly generous and lovely. We've just been given some beautiful figs and beautiful plums from our neighbour, and that is wonderful. But the bureaucracy here can be a bit of a struggle. So be aware that that is something that's very important, and if you are doing anything, I would recommend doing everything legally. I think it's respectful to the country. I've matriculated a van and converted that to a camper van. You can watch our videos on that. And the process was complicated. So be aware that things can be quite complicated and can take time. It's not always straightforward or easy or quick. So make sure that you think about that as well when you're maybe planning to build your new build or doing anything here really in Portugal. Anyway, Portugal is a wonderful place to come. We're loving it. It's got many, many benefits. These are just some of the things that have come off the top of our head about some of the things that we think might be useful for you. Please put in the description any things that you think might be useful for other people to know. We might update this video and add more things that we think of as we think about them. If you like this video, obviously give us a thumbs up and hit the notification bell and subscribe and share it. That would help us. And definitely we look forward to seeing you in the next video. Okay, take care. Bye.